It's all about truth. All of it. Every single thing. All boils down to the truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free. All right, welcome to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. I'm Dan Dicks, your host. This is Press for Truth Live. I'm going to be live here for the next little while. I hope I did this right, but bear with me as I just make sure we're actually going. It looks like we are live, but I don't have any of the comments popping up yet or any shows anybody viewing, but I'm sure they are. I hope you're here. I hope you're with me. Maybe I'll just try refreshing this over here real quick before we jump into things. Make sure we're definitely good to go. Please, guys, share this video right now. Let everybody know we are in fact live right now. I hope we are anyways. It doesn't seem to be showing up here on my end, but let me just double check once more before we really jump into this. Hang tight, guys. I hope we're live. I think we are. Let me see. Oh, I see myself. Here we are. Okay, we are live apparently. I see some of your questions popping up. All right, this is going to be a little tricky to get into your questions for the day because I can't seem to see them here on my screen for whatever reason. But hey, we're here, we're live, you're with me, we're together. We're going to jump into some of the crazy news stories of the day, and then we'll get back to continuing to take your questions. Like, check out this kind of stuff making the headlines today. Expect a false flag attack at Zaporizhzhia today. Both Russia and Ukraine are warning about this happening today. Both Ukraine and Russia have warned of an imminent false flag attack at Zaporizhzhia. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I think I'm pretty close. Europe's largest nuclear power plant. This all stems from this tweet here. The Russian invaders have announced an unexpected day off at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant on August 19th. Only operational personnel will be stationed at the ZNPP. That's much easier. No other employees will be allowed to enter. It's also known that the representatives of Rosatom, Russia's state nuclear energy cooperation, who have recently been constantly at the plant, have urgently left the territory of the facility. Ukraine intelligence officers believe that the Russians are preparing a provocation at ZNPP following their extensive shelling of the ZNPP. The invaders could raise the stakes and stage a real terrorist attack on Europe's largest nuclear facility, guys. Not looking good. So we're going to take a look at this today as well. Get your thoughts on it. Rehearsal for catastrophe. Vladimir Zelensky sounds warning over nuclear drills amid fears of Russian false flag attack on seized power plant. Not looking good, folks. Meanwhile, in other news, you may have heard by now, Finland's prime minister is making headlines right now for this leaked video of her partying hard. Here's one of the videos, anyways, that's going around, getting viral right now, which prompted her to have to be drug tested, and many people are claiming that this is, inappropriate for a young prime minister to be doing, especially when she issued emergency orders during the COVID-19 so-called pandemic. And here she is partying it up, getting all close and chummy with her friends. As we see here, Chris Tomlinson says, pretty sure the guy who looks like he's kissing Finnish prime minister on the neck in this clip isn't her husband. And yeah, here's that clip. See if I can get this to play. It's a little choppy right now. Well, anyways, we'll play it a little later, but here clearly is a man who is not her husband, as you can see in these still images, kissing her on the neck. So we'll also take a quick look at this. Finland's Sanna Marin fights for her right to party. Married leader 36 says nothing inappropriate happens in leaked video after her dancing intimately with pop star at 4 a.m., but submits to a drug test as she defends her wild night out. Again, she's the one who, called an emergency due to the so-called pandemic and is now out there living it up, as she told her people not to. In related news, it looks like we're a little bit choppy. Hopefully it's not too bad. COVID-19 surges in Saskatchewan. Shahab says to mask up. Residents should now consider once again wearing face coverings in indoor public spaces as caseloads rise. Saskatchewan's top public health official says it may be time to use masks in public again. I've been warning about this for a while now, that we're just in the calm before the storm, the eye of the hurricane, so to speak, and Saskatchewan now is jumping the gun before the next fall wave. In other news, look at this blatant case of absolute racism. Says here, Berkeley Co-op bans white people from common areas in order to avoid white violence and presence. And all students are trying to sign in are asked to declare their race. This is pretty blatant racism if you ask me, but some people will say that's, you can't say that because there's no such thing as racism when it comes to white people. Just unbelievable. So we're going to talk about all of this, guys, and much, much more in this video. Just really quickly, before we do, I'd ask that you check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information. Once again, links for all of this stuff are located in the description below. Please check it all out below, and if you do appreciate my efforts, once again. All right, so as I said, we're going to take a look at some of this false flag attack narrative going on between Russia and Ukraine. But before we do, I'm going to really quickly here take a quick look at your comments, make sure we're actually not too choppy here or anything like that, because it does seem to be a little bit slow, a little bit choppy. Working fine. Hey brother, hey Dan, here we are. I did hit that like button. Thank you, Summer Warhurst. If you guys haven't yet clicked that like button, please do so. We've got 239 people watching and only 78 thumbs up. That clearly doesn't add up, guys. Go ahead and click that thumbs up button. Let's take another look at some of these comments real quickly. Where are they? Live chat. And if you have any questions, guys, put them in here in the live chat. I'm going to do my best to address them. Hi, Dan. You're a truth hero. Thanks for the live coverage of the dark day in Ottawa. Yeah, that was pretty wild. My Ottawa coverage, if you didn't see it, I went live during the massive clampdown in Ottawa. I did like a 7.5-hour live stream that day. Got cracked in the ribs. I'm still dealing with that, unbelievably. What is this? Over 6 months ago. And my ribs still hurt, mainly like when I sleep on my my right side. I wake up with the spot where that cop hit me still hurting to this day. It sucks, but it is what it is. Look at Finland's Air Force flag. Okay, we'll try to take a look at that. All right, so it looks like we're doing pretty good here. So let's jump into this a little bit because viewers of this channel, I'm sure, are well aware of how false flags are carried out, how they have been over the last few decades, and how I've been warning about how we're going to be seeing more in the near future. Well, now we have both sides, Russia and Ukraine, claiming that both are going to do this to each other. Very interesting. Vladimir Zelensky last night warned of a possible nuclear catastrophe as Kyiv held drills near an atomic plant seized by Putin's troops after Ukraine's defense ministry warned Russia was planning a false flag attack today. Now, obviously, when we hear of drills surrounding false flag attacks, viewers of this channel certainly are going to have their guard up and are going to have red flags going off, because we've seen time and time again, over and over again, drills happening at the same time when false flags are carried out. It happened on 9/11. There were a number of drills being taking place in the air. There were Air Force fighters flying around saying, "Wait a minute, is this a drill or is this the real thing? Are we talking about a real world scenario?" And a great deal of confusion. It was the same with the 7/7 bombings in London. There was a drill going on at the exact same time of that, adding to a great deal of confusion about whether or not it was a real event or it was the drill. And obviously, if any of the bad actors involved in this get caught, they can just claim that they're taking part in the drill. And this is kind of like their modus operandi. We've seen it so many times over and over and again. I just had a few other examples in my head, but they've escaped me. But there's time and time again, this is how these things are done, where you carry out the drill, and then at the same time as the drill, the real events unfold. Which is why we have our guard up today about this news. The Ukrainian president lashed out at Moscow over its nuclear blackmail at this nuclear facility in Europe. Both sides have traded allegations blaming the other for shelling the plant throughout the 6-month war. Russia seized the site in early March and has turned it into a base from where it can hit nearby towns, meaning Ukrainian forces cannot fight back without a risk of causing a widespread disaster in which deadly radioactive fallout is released. But Ukraine's defense intelligence agency last night warned Moscow had told its workers at the plant not to report for duty today, stoking fears of a false flag attack on the plant is imminent. Intelligence officials said staff with Russia's Rosatom nuclear power plant company had left the site, but gave no further details to what a possible incident could look like. And says here, this deliberate terror on the part of the aggressor can have a global catastrophic consequences, said Mr. Zelensky, said of Russia's alleged attack on the plant thus far. The UN must ensure the security of the strategic object, its demilitarization and complete liberation from Russian troops. Not looking good, guys. Here, the head of Ukraine's state nuclear energy agency claimed that 500 Russian troops and 50 armed vehicles were there at the plant, which is still being operated by Ukraine engineers, but Moscow dismisses those allegations as completely fabricated. So who are we to believe here? Russian foreign ministers insisted yesterday that the Ukrainian military must be forced to cease shelling at the Zaporizhzhia power plant to prevent nuclear disaster. And here's photos of the drills going on. This is workers in, hazmat suits practicing their evacuation of an injured man, scanning him for radiation. This is all happening during drills going on right now. But, in my experience, obviously, when they announce things that are going to happen publicly on the news, coming from intelligence officials and military men and their country's leaders, it's usually a little bit of a distraction. Maybe a limited hangout and perhaps some preconditioning. But I actually don't think we're going to see anything take place at this nuclear facility today, as the Russian and Ukrainian forces are claiming. But this is preconditioning society and getting people ready for such a thing to come down the pike in the near future. And people will already be preconditioned and ready to think to themselves that this was carried out by the big bad Russians, or vice versa, depending on who you're watching on the news that day. Let me just see if I have any of these comments coming in here on my computer yet. No, we don't. Oh well, that's okay. I will check back right here and see if you guys have any comments about this latest talk of a false flag attack at this nuclear facility that's located in Ukraine, which is apparently being taken over by the Russians since the beginning of this. Let me know what you think. So let me just quickly check on these comments here as well. Hi, Dan from Sydney, Australia. Hi, free to check. All right. Just bear with me, guys. I'm just scrolling through on my phone here to see if we have anything, any new comments popping up. Let me make sure this chat is active. Just like Events 201, which was like a drill, says John Steffies. Yeah, exactly. 201 is a good example. This, of course, is the World Economic Forum teaming up with the likes of, Bill Gates and others who put on this scenario, this fake scenario where they imagined what the world would be like in a post-pandemic world. In case you didn't know, this happened in 2019, like October, I think, before anybody even knew about anything called COVID-19. They already had a drill for it. In fact, the very same people have recently held a new drill involving cyber polygon. And now what we're dealing with is a cyber attack that would be blamed on hackers as part of a false flag, but the cyber attack would lead to global breakdowns in supply chains. So that's another interesting one, because we saw the scenario of Event 201 play out to a T, exactly as they imagined it. Well, the very same people have recently come up with a new scenario of global food shortages and supply chain breakdowns due to a hack into the system and the whole internet getting taken over. This is something to pay very close attention to as well moving forward. Guys, I want to remind you to click that thumbs up button if you're just tuning in now. We got all kinds of crazy stuff covering in the news today. In case you missed it, we were talking a little bit earlier about the Prime Minister of Finland going on a bit of a party. Leaked footage shows her dancing rather intimately with a number of people, just totally cutting loose. And this video appears to show her, looks like she's making out with a dude who's clearly not her husband. So in this headline, when she says nothing inappropriate happens, well, I mean, there's a man kissing you on your neck right here. Let me try to refresh this real quick because the video's not playing. But I mean, yeah, he's clearly kissing her on the neck, and she responds by, putting her hand around him. Right here, watch. There, kissing on the neck, right? And she puts his hand on the back in response. Seems a little inappropriate to me, don't you think? How would you feel if you saw your spouse doing something like that? Well, I was briefly just taking a look at her Wikipedia page, looking into a little bit of her background. Obviously, you take it with a grain of salt when it comes from a source like Wikipedia, but certain things it will be correct about, like the day she was born, things like this, who her parents were. Her parents separated when she was very young, and her biological parents separated after that, and she was very young. Marin was brought up by her mother and her mother's female partner. Interesting. So she has two moms. She was raised by a lesbian couple. Remarkably, she was born in 1985. I think graduated high school in 2004. I feel so old. I graduated in 1997. But here's the important stuff, guys. She, during COVID, in December of 2021, she went out with friends and again visited a nightclub in Helsinki. I remember all that. After being in contact with Finland's foreign minister the same day, who tested positive for COVID-19 84, thus exposing the prime minister to infection. And then she claimed that she doesn't have to self-isolate because she's fully vaccinated. Later that night, text messages were sent to her saying, no, that's not the case, basically. And then she apparently admitted to her failure and eventually said, yeah, I should have quarantined or whatever. It's just unbelievable. She had been told that going out in public was permitted due to her being fully vaccinated. The next day, she received information that this was not the case. So she explained missing the update advice and apologized for her poor judgment on Facebook. Well, now she's having to apologize again, saying nothing inappropriate happened. I was just out unloading, having a good time. She blasted her critics and insisted that she has the same right to a night out as everyone else after she was captured on video having a ruckus evening with friends earlier this month. Ms. Marin today insisted that everyone needs to have fun and a relaxing evening out, and that should be allowed to let her hair down and spend most of her time juggling the responsibilities of governing and being a mother. The 36-year-old, who is married, added that nothing inappropriate happened in the newly leaked video that shows her dancing hip to hip with male pop singer Olivia, whatever his name is, in Helsinki club and nightclub. She said her only regret is that private videos made it into the public domain. So again, we have a bit of a case of, you know, what do they say? Rules for thee, but not for me. You know, again, this is someone who called a public emergency due to the COVID-19 and forced her citizens on lockdown, forced people to get vaccines, forced people to wear masks, and then is seen just face-to-face partying in clubs with strangers and letting random dudes kiss her on the neck. Seems a little hypocritical, doesn't it, for a prime minister of a country like Finland? Figured I'd bring that one to your attention today as well, guys. And yeah, I thought that was interesting. And as I said, you know, with all these restrictions currently being eased, you know, she's living it up in the nightclub, and it's happening everywhere, actually. Restrictions being eased left, right, and center. The CDC has backtracked, saying, you know, guidelines for the vaccinated are all the same as the unvaccinated. Well, I've been saying for a while, guys, this really is just the calm before the storm. This is the eye before the hurricane, so to speak. And now, you know, we're seeing articles like this come out. COVID-19 surge in Saskatchewan. You know, top public health official says it's time to mask up again. The province reported a rebound in COVID-19 84 infections, hospitalizations, and outbreaks as families prepare to send kids back to school and cooler weather looms on the horizon, ready to send people indoors where the virus spreads more rapidly. So I've also pointed out how schools in Ontario, like I believe it's the University of Toronto and some others, are bringing back mandatory vaccines for any in staying in dorms, going into school, and eventually may even require it for students who are doing school at home through Zoom classes. It's just unbelievable. But these are all the telltale signs that this ain't over. You know, we're currently in a there was a pre-COVID-19 84 world, and now we're in the post-COVID-19 84 world. It's not about to go away anytime soon. They didn't do all this stuff over the last 2.5, almost 3 years just to, you know, walk back on it and let us have all of our freedoms back. No, this was the beginning of a major clampdown on society globally in an effort to have everyone inoculated on the planet so they can be tracked, traced, and databased through these passport-type systems. So seems clear to me that things are coming back with a vengeance. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to check your comments once again real quickly here. Let me just refresh this and see if I got anything new. And again, if you do have any big, questions that you really want me to answer, maybe put it all in caps because there's a lot of, stuff scrolling by here. What's up, Dan? I gave you props in Ottawa when you were here. You demand truth wins. Glory to our Creator. Thank you so much for the props. Indeed, glory to our Creator. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a subscriber. Shill, you call that journalism? Stop sending to this shill, says VJ Tsunami Mix. Cool name, VJ Tsunami Mix. But I would ask, where's your evidence of my shilling? Over the 16 or 17 years since I've started Press for Truth, and I began this whole journey back in the late 90s, researching secret societies and stuff like that is where I started down the rabbit hole. It was stuff like Bohemian Grove and Skull and Bones, Freemasonry, the Illuminati, stuff like that. And then 9/11 happened. And I was like, okay, this is big. Now it's time to get active. It's time to get out there and start raising awareness about what's going on. And by 2002, I was already hitting up the streets with DVDs and flyers. I went out and met up with like-minded people. That's when I joined Toronto 9/11 Truth Seekers, it was called back then. And I started to recognize a lot of problems within the groups. Essentially, a lot of people had a different opinion about what the problems are, but more importantly, they had different opinions about what the solutions ought to be. And I eventually, after seeing so much infighting, realized I just got to start my own thing, do my own thing, speak my own mind, tell the world about how I see things in my own way, give opinions on how I see solutions to these problems. And I decided to do that. So I launched Press for Truth in 2006. And ever since then, it's been a strange and wild roller coaster of a ride. I've been full-time since 2012. Amazing. For the last 10 years, I've been doing this full-time. But from 2006 to 2012 was a struggle to get to the point of where I could do that. And all along the journey, there's been people who have been claiming I'm a shill, I'm government controlled, I'm controlled opposition, I'm some sort of an agent who's been planted here. There have been documentary films who have claimed that I was a crisis actor who took part in Sandy Hook. These words are probably going to trigger the algorithm here, but I don't care. I'm not going to censor myself, that's for sure. But it's just crazy, and I always find it funny. Those people who often make those claims are just keyboard clicking SJW type people who are really just jealous about other people's ability to reach an audience when they don't have one. So anyways, if you do have any evidence there, VJ Tsunami Mix, send it my way. I'll certainly check it out, and maybe other people can as well. All right, let me scroll through here, see if there's anything that I missed. Dan, say my comment, says Nathan McDonald. I'm scrolling back. I don't see a comment from you. YouTube does live delete comments even on live streams. People often say that too. They're like, my comments keep getting deleted. Pfft, this Dan guy thinks he believes in free speech and then deletes my comments. Like, no, I don't. I've never deleted anybody's comments. I don't censor anybody. It's YouTube doing that, which is another reason why it's important to migrate off of this platform. I'm not going to be here for very long. You may recall back in 2020, they killed this channel. At the snap of a finger, I was terminated. I didn't have any copyright strikes. I didn't have any community guidelines strikes. Everything was on the up and up, and all of a sudden, they just terminated my channel. And I thought it was gone. 7 whole months went by without me having a channel, and I started building up my Odyssey and my BitChute and all my other platforms. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I get a tweet, actually, from YouTube. They tweeted at me saying, "We apologize. Sincerely, we've made a huge mistake. We're so sorry about any inconvenience this may have caused. We've reinstated your channel for you." And I was just like, okay, all right, wow, thank you. Well, not really thank you, but, more like, okay, I will continue to use this because I have over 250,000 subscribers here, and this is where a great deal of the people come where they need to hear this information the most, I could go live on these other platforms, but I'm really just preaching to the choir and speaking out into an echo chamber, essentially. But here is where I need to reach the masses who need to see this info the most, which is why I decided to go live here on YouTube today. Anyways, guys, I'm totally getting off track here. Let's get back into some of the things we were going to talk about in the news today, like this one. Blatant case of racism. Berkeley Co-op bans white people from the common areas to avoid white violence and presence. An off-campus co-op for students at the University of California, Berkeley, named the Person of Color Theme House, has banned white guests from entering common areas. A list of house rules revealed that occupants were told many POC moved here to be able to avoid white violence and presence. So respect their decision of avoidance if you bring white guests. While the student's house aims to have an inclusive environment, the rules specifically state white guests are not allowed in the common spaces, according to the list, which was posted on Reddit. The accommodation, which is located close to Berkeley's campus, is a 5-story, 30-room home that can house up to 56 students. But the rules, which were leaked on social media, caused an outrage, many people slamming the restrictions as racist. Of course it is, and others came forward and revealed their experience living in the co-op. One mixed-race Reddit user, who claimed to have lived at the house, said that their presence as a light-skinned person was not received well, and they said members called them slurs, and they were even not allowed to let their dad enter the house because he was white. I mean, that's just about as racist as it gets. The house was set up as part of Berkeley's Student Cooperative, a program designed to bring affordable housing to students in California's Bay Area, and aims to provide housing to low-income, first-generation, immigrant, and marginalized students of color. According to the rules, people that live there should avoid bringing family and parents and members that express bigotry, because queer, black, and indigenous members should not have to avoid common spaces because of homophobic or racist parents and family members. Please, just end it all now, please, Lord. Come back. This is just wild. Gilmore also said the university does have its own theme programs, but no such policies like this one are there. Just unbelievable stuff. Under BCC's anti-discrimination policy, acts are prohibited if they discriminate against any BCS community members on the basis of qualities such as age, gender, and sexual orientation. Guys, I'll put links to all this stuff in the description below, but have you ever experienced anything like this yourself? I actually have a crazy story of firsthand experience of dealing with racism myself. I totally experienced racism, hands down 100%. I was working long time ago. I was a manager of a Sunrise Records. I was at the corner of Yonge and Bloor, downtown Toronto. And that particular day, the other manager was on hand, and usually we're not working at the same time, but this day we were. So while he was working the back of the floor, I was standing at the front, and this is something that we do every day. Managers, and sometimes when we don't do it, we'll have somebody else do it, and you stand there near the front just to keep an eye on things, keep an eye on the whole store in general, because sometimes we would have people run in, grab stuff off of something and run right out the front door and try to steal stuff, or there was a lot of troublemakers at Yonge and Bloor, so we would just kind of stand watch there. And I'm not singling anybody out, I'm just watching everybody, right? And I remember just standing there one day, looking around my store like I always do, and out of nowhere, this older man, a black gentleman, probably in his 50s, came up to me out of nowhere. I don't even think I ever looked at him once, to be honest. But out of nowhere, he comes up and says, why are you standing there staring at me? What, do you got some kind of problem? You think I'm going to steal? What's your big deal? And I'm just like totally taken aback. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? I'm not singling you out. I'm doing what I do all the time. The guy got so irate and mad, started shouting so angry, calling me the white devil, that the second manager, my boss at the time, heard all this, and he had to come over and intervene and interject before this guy got violent. And I'm just standing there completely in shock of this guy accusing me of being racist. And in that experience, I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, wow, you, sir, are incredibly racist. Like, just sitting there experiencing him claiming that I was racist for something I'm completely boggling my mind as to how he thinks that this was a thing, and it dawned on me. He came in there with some sort of a prejudice, and he thought that this white boy is watching me, which I wasn't. I'm looking at everybody equally in the store, and accused me of being racist. And that was the first time that I experienced racism firsthand. And if you can't see that something like this is blatant racism, then I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You're just falling into society's idea of so-called white privilege, which really is a bunch of nonsense, guys. I've broken this down in this video here. White privilege debunked. Ryerson University conference exposed. This is like a 20 or 25 minute long video, in depth debunking of the nonsense that is this notion that of white privilege. I also said it in, here it is, on YouTube. White privilege debunked, Ryerson University conference exposed. I decided to dress up all nice and dapper for this white privilege video. But really quickly, I did put out a video. It's here featured on my home channel, homepage on my channel. It's called These 10 Things I Hold to Be True. Allow me to explain. And if you haven't seen this, guys, please give it a watch. But here's just a little segment of like a snippet of some of my views on this idea of white privilege. And let me know what you think about it, and we'll go back to your comments to see what you think. But get a listen to this.
Right. Statement number 3. White privilege is a myth. According to many on the left, if there is inequality of outcome, well, that must mean that there's a group of dominant white men who have created a system which favors unfair advantages over other races. The line of thinking goes, if, for example, you are black and you are unsuccessful, it's not because of the choices you've made, and the amount of effort that you've put in towards being successful. But no, it's because there are powerful white men who have conspired against you and they hold an advantage over you. This is just simply not true. White privilege is the imaginary belief that all your problems in life are not your own fault, nor are they curable by you being an individual taking responsibility for your own life. White privilege encourages its proponents to instead blame white people for all their problems, as well as any political, social, or cultural problems we're facing here in Western society. White privilege is a racist concept that promotes neglecting your own responsibility for your own beliefs and actions in the world. It's a racist concept that places all the blame for all the world's ills and your own personal problems on a single racial group. This is literally what the Nazis did with the Jews. The arguments for white privilege have been thoroughly debunked in my video titled White Privilege Debunked, Ryerson University Conference Exposed. I'll leave a link to that in the description below for an in-depth analysis for those who want a more thorough explanation. The bottom line is, the concept of white privilege is a racist and dangerous ideology that pins the blame of the inequality we see in the world on a particular race. And that is a problem which should be clear and obvious to everyone. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments section below.
And yeah, if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments section below. And I'm looking there right now, folks. Let me scroll through. Let's get back to where we started on the white privilege talk. I've listened to Dan for years, tried meeting him. Hi, Mike Guyver. Sorry we didn't get the chance to meet, but I will be on the front lines once again soon, I'm sure, out there doing something, and maybe we'll have a chance to meet. So the answer to racism is more racism, says Sun. Yeah, exactly. Good point. I mean, how people can't see this for what it is mind-boggling. Let's see. I'm just seeing a lot of comments, so I'm just trying to get through to see if we have any questions. I've never personally seen any of this racism or bigotry they speak of, like the boogeyman. Maybe you mean about in terms of, racist white people, because I don't know anybody, any white supremacists or Nazis, I know one guy, actually, his name is Brian, who... I don't think he claims to be a Nazi, but a lot of people would say he kind of has those types of ideas. That's one person that I know in all of Canada who I've ever heard of that's anything like that. So it's a very huge misrepresentation from Trudeau and the media and everyone else. All right. I'm just scrolling through here, guys. I'm not able to have the comments on my computer for some reason, so I'm just scrolling through with my phone here. Just kind of a little workaround fix to the problem. I'm white looking, but I've never had any privilege for looking white, says the Eagle Eyes 007. Yeah, not everybody is the same, Eagle Eye. What happens? Let's see. To your mother bashing? I don't know what you mean by that. I got a lot of comments here, so I'm just going to see if we have any questions real quickly, and then maybe we'll wrap this one up. All right, people are basically having conversations amongst themselves right now. I'll check back on that in a minute, but yeah, let me know what you guys think on that. Is it blatantly racist, or am I am I going for a bit of a stretch? Just a recap, in case you're just tuning in. Earlier, we talked about this apparent expected false flag attack coming today that both Russia and Ukraine were warning about on a nuclear facility in Ukraine. A lot of this stemmed from this one particular tweet from Stratcom Center UA, and then we took a quick look at this Daily Mail article sounding the alarm about false flags coming from both sides, apparently Ukraine and Russia, potentially. We looked at the Prime Minister of Finland partying it up, apparently seeming to make out with some dude who is not her husband, and then going on the media the following day saying nothing inappropriate happened. Again, this is the same Prime Minister who called for a state of emergency and had her people locked down, force vaccinated, and masked, but not the same rules for thee, apparently. Looks like masking is coming back in Saskatchewan. This is again just foreshadowing of the things that will be returning in the fall. Get ready for more restrictions. Get ready for a clampdown on your rights again. Get ready for shutdowns and lockdowns. I hate to say it. I don't want to sound like defeatist or pessimistic, but it's reality. As I said, we're in the post-COVID 1984 world. They didn't work this hard to take away our freedoms just to simply easily give them back to us. And finally, I wanted to bring this one to your attention today as well, because to me, it's a blatant case of racism against white people. But apparently, you can't say that in this day and age. That's simply not something you should be talking about. Guys, once again, thank you so much to everybody who has stuck with me over the years. If you have never donated, you don't have to. Of course, you can continue to consume my content for free, as you have been for the past 16 years or so. I'm going to continue to put out all my content for free. There will never be a paywall here. You can watch all 5 of my documentary films for free just by clicking right here. You can watch all my videos all the time for free. You will never have to pay for my information. But if you do appreciate that I do that, I would ask that you check me out at pressfortruth.ca/donate. As soon as this live stream is over, maybe you could take a little bit of time to support channels like this who counter all the propaganda that we're currently bombarded with coming from the mainstream, to try to bring you the truth of what's going on in the world, or at least how I see things. Again, if that's something you guys appreciate, please check the links in the description of this video to find out how you can donate to me here at Press for Truth. Also, guys, I want to remind you that this platform sucks. You should be watching me on Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble, Minds, Float, Bastion, and Hive. I'm on 8 different platforms that I post to every day. Every video that I make goes on 8 different platforms. And any day now, just like it happened back in 2020, this channel is going to be terminated again. Just like that, I'll be gone. And people will be like, hey, I wonder whatever happened to that Dan Dicks guy in Press for Truth. You know, he was putting out good stuff. I wish I heard from him. That's what happened. I disappeared for 7 months. Not really. I continued banging out daily videos all summer long. And then all of a sudden my channel was reinstated. And all these people were like, whoa, you're back. Man, I haven't seen anything from you in like half a year. Glad you're back. And it's like, no, I haven't gone anywhere. I've been posting every day. You need to look elsewhere outside of YouTube. So if you go to my channel, or sorry, my website, you'll see a banner at the top which will have links to all the different places where you can subscribe to me on. In the description of this video are links to all those 8 different platforms to where you can subscribe to me on. I highly encourage you to do so, guys, because as I said, my days are numbered here. I'm only going live here today because this is where a great deal of the people we need to reach the most are. So I wanted to go live today here at YouTube to attempt to do that. Maybe you could help share this stream with your friends and family, people who you think need to see this stuff the most. And once again, I want to thank you for watching. I'm going to check this chat one last time before we go. We got a lot of goodbyes already. Thank you so much, guys. Hey, Dan, love you, brother, says Jason Strope. Thank you so much. Seen you around many, many times over the years. You do a great job, Dan. Thank you, Seth Black. Greatly appreciated. Great work. Brother, says Mike Guyver. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, forget about the tube. I'm out. Good call, VB. Thank you for that. This platform does suck, says La Grosse Patate. Agreed. It really does. You know, I poured my life and soul into this for the last 16, almost 17 years, only for them to just discard me. I'm totally shadow banned. I haven't gotten a single new subscriber in like a year and a half. You know, I'm like locked in at 271,000 subscribers. This channel should be way bigger than it is, but whatever. I'm not too concerned about that. I've got other platforms, much better platforms, that I can continue to reach people on. Thanks, Dan, says Lily. Dan, Zach K. Hubbard can show you some real truth for your audience can't deny. He's a genius on deciding the occult. Maybe you mean decoding the occult. Cool. I'm not really familiar with his work, but that's, as I said, going back to my beginnings. That's what I kind of got into in the beginning. Netherland loves you, Dan. Thank you so much. Roger Hop, really appreciate it. He says, I have a Canadian flag. You're much like the Freedom Convoy truckers. Good on you. Great job, says on Authenticity Seeker. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there. Dan, says Nathan McDonald. Thank you so much. Oh, he's in your chat. Okay, I'll go back. I'm going to go back and look through the chat. There's a lot of stuff here, so I can scroll back here as soon as this one is over. Wow, just looking at my myself here, I'm like, oh man, I need a haircut. Well, guys, that's all for today. I once again just really enjoy being here with you, able to interact with you. I want to start going live outside of this platform. I've gone live a number of times on Odyssey. So if you're not subscribed there, be sure to odyssey.com/pressfortruth. Again, links for all of this stuff are located in the description below, because next time I go live, it will most likely be there or elsewhere other than here. But I figured I'd do it for today. Anyways, that's all for today, guys. Once again, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to please check all the links in the description below if you want to support my efforts to continuously bring you this information. And that's all for today, my friends. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. Peace out, everybody.